gentlemen, wherever you're watching us from, you are live on this platform today, talking about Pop TV Africa. We are going to look at happenings last week, and of course development stories, across the world, and of course we are going to look at, of course, Nigeria should also add to what we are going to discuss today. Nigeria has been very, very unfair to themselves, because we don't really know how we get to where we are now economically. Things are really, our socio-economic life has degenerated to the point now that an egg, just one small egg in Nigeria currently now is going to 400, 500 naira. And you can go and ask questions and find out things for yourself. It is quite devastating for every Nigerian at this particular point in time, and to continue to struggle without any means of livelihood at the end of the day. So, but Nigerians has continued to give out their voices in terms of advocacy, in terms of letting the government to understand that at this point Nigeria has entered menopause. At this point, Nigeria as a nation has entered a breaking point. At this point in time, the street is no longer peaceful. At this point, at any slighted mistake, Nigeria is going to witness one of the worst revolutions on earth, because what happened in France when the issue of hunger get along their way is likely going to happen in Nigeria any moment from now. And secondly, Eedris Abdulkareem has also added his voice. Sometime in 1999 or thereabout, when Obasanjo was president, he said Nigeria jaga jaga, and the struggle to fix the jaga jaga, has continued to elude the Nigerian leaders at this point, where Eedris has come again and said, Èmi Lọ Kon, that's hunger is on the land, hunger is on the land, and true, in all honesty, hunger is on the land. Thank you, Eedris Abdulkareem, for that regard. We don't want to look at other artists who are pretending as if all is well for the masses, knowing fully well that most of them got their popularity on the street, and when it is time for them to defend the street, they look at those politicians, they look at those high-ranking ones that can barely dance their music anywhere, any place in the world. So I think it is high time, if the government are not using them to deceive majority of Nigerians with their social gathering and all the rest. Nigeria should question that and should stop attending their gathering. For what? When they're supposed to use means like Eedris Abdulkareem to get government attention to plights Nigerians are going through on everyday basis. You can hardly have 5,000 naira today for just a meal in any of the buka. I'm not talking of restaurants, any of the roadside. Currently now as I speak to you, and it's quite unfortunate, under Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Nigerians are dying in hunger. A recent protest by Sowore tells you that took place on June 12th, Democracy Day. There was a protest, and that protest was titled Hunger Protest. It's not a church play, it is not by just going out there to protest. Nigerians are experiencing a hunger reality for the first time in the history of this country. And a bit away from that, we are seeing some certain moves, trying to put Tinubu in check. We are seeing the former Vice President Bola Ahmed Abubakar visiting IBB. We are seeing him visiting, of course, the man in Daura, talking about Buhari. I have seen him in company of Dino Malaye visiting Senator Dingi, all in the quest to make sure that we do not experience this kind of thing again. And of course, Tinubu himself is not relaxing on that matter. We have been seeing counter moves also, from the APC trying to unravel the mysteries behind Atiku's recent political moves. And that takes us to Rivers State, where we have developments where the man in Abuja, FCT, Wike, is struggling with his own lawmakers, and why the governor of Rivers State is also battling to retain his own men in the government house. how that thing is going to take effect, and we'll be giving different court judgments, injunction from one court to another. They are now depending on Wike court order, and the governor is also depending on his own court order at the end of the day. But what we want to take here is the reality on ground. It is not about Wike, it is not about Fubara, it's about what the Constitution says. Constitution is where we're going to look at, just like what the 50 lawmakers are trying to do in regard to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu illegal detention. They have written a communique, telling the president to be man enough and not to be biased, not to show nepotism, not to be tribalistic. That's what I'm trying to tell you, because you lose Igboho, you lose Sowore, and these are the people. The same offense Nnamdi Kanu was charged, the same offense all these people were charged, and you release them. So the lawmakers are saying, Mr. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, it's not about you, it's about what the Constitution will say. Invoke the powers of the Mr. President and release Nnamdi Kanu now. That's what they are saying, and that's what they are telling Mr. President. Immediately he returned from South Africa, where it was believed that the president of South Africa, ignored him. Let's see how that those who are, a lot of you who have watched the video, did he push it, Mr. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. That lets you for you and your conscience to judge on that. And of course, Asari Dokubo should not be seen near the government house in Rivers State. That's what I said. Allow the youth to decide who they want.